I'm Kumi. Testing, testing. Gotta make sure it's. And
Testing.
you gotta make sure it's like I don't move the mic around too much. That's such a horrible. Let me try that again. Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah, because it always makes such a horrible noise when I like move it around.
My new plan is to hold my elbows when I'm not doing my Italiano ancestors.
Yeah. Yeah, the light isn't too. It's not buzzing, is it? I can't tell, so it's probably fine. Yeah, welcome back to the Monkey Bar. It's been, I think it's almost been a month since
It's
our last.
been a year.
Yeah, it's been 1 decade since last podcast we recorded was last decade. Yeah, I gotta get it all out of my system first. But yeah, it feels great to be back. I know I noticed that we are always a bit more recharged. You probably can't tell from my speech impediment right now, but just need to get back in the groove.
Same here. I also have been doing fucking all when it comes to writing, and I think the podcast is what got me in my groove.
Yeah. I noticed that, one of my resolutions for this year is work more on the comic, get at least 100 pages or over 100 pages done by the end of the year. I think that's a reasonable goal. And to further that goal, right now, I've locked myself out of Facebook and Twitter. I noticed that it's just been getting way too big of a distraction. It's distracted me all last year, probably before then too. So what I did was I changed my passwords for Facebook and Twitter to something like 20 characters long. It's impossible to remember. Wrote it down, locked it in a safe, and just leave it there for like at least a month. If I need to, I'll check back on both of those in like a month, and then lock myself back out again.
I'm in.
I probably won't need to change my password again, but maybe if
Memorize it.
if I'm feeling like especially lucid that day, I might have to. But yeah, for right now, I actually do feel like it's helping me a little bit. I can't tell right now because I haven't been able to work on my comic much lately. I've just been like, I actually noticed I'm kind of getting an ulcer coming back, so I'm waiting for my ulcer medication to get in the mail or get refilled because my prescription ran out like right when I needed it. So I've been waiting for the last couple of days. I've been supplementing that with some Tums. So
Are you having a Tums festival?
Yeah, every day is a Tums festival. Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's my favorite.
Like I knew that was coming, and I was going to jump into it before you did. So
you kind of did.
Thank you for taking the cringe for me.
I have to do it. I have to do it louder. It's the fucking America.
But yeah, no more Facebook or Twitter. And no, I was watching this morning, rewatching an old Vsauce video of Why Do We Get Bored? And he was mentioning how we do tend to just want to distract ourselves whenever we get bored with social media. And I know that I'm kind of sounding like a boomer by shitting on social media, but I think social media is one of those things that deserves to be shit on.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to my family when I fucking see my family. I don't want to talk to Aunt Bev when it's like, you want to talk politics? No, Aunt Bev. Go back to reposting pictures of Ben Kenobi.
Yeah, but before Twitter or Facebook, I would just distract myself by daydreaming. That's where most of my creativity would come from. And I do think that being on Twitter every day is sort of stifled that creativity. I think that I have been. It has been what I call an addiction. I think it is an addiction, really, in a professional term, not just an exaggeration. Because whenever I open my phone, I look at my phone, I go through my email. Without even thinking, I go immediately to the Twitter icon, even though I know that I'm logged out. It's like, yep, habitual
delete the app.
Pavlovian response. Yeah. I like Bro Team Pill, how he describes it as picking for berries whenever that notification comes up. It's like it taps into that primal urge to go into that stuff.
That's why I like that I don't have a Reddit account that I use a lot.
And that's why I've discouraged you from getting a Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, I have a Twitter. I have a Twitter. I had, but what I do is I use it to post screenshots that I take pictures. I'm like, hey, you want to see a screenshot I took on the Xbox? Let me do this complicated 45-minute ritual. Ritual.
Yeah.
Ritual.
Yeah, either's fine. I don't really care. I'm not gonna be the grammar Nazi. Are you allowed to say Nazi on YouTube now, or is that considered hate speech?
It's fucking Schrodinger's Nazi. If we say it, we are. If we don't, we are. I don't know.
By the way, before the camera gives out, I want to mention that in honor of the new decade, I brought in my this shirt that I've owned for more than a decade, and this jacket, which I've had for more than a decade. And the reason I know that this is older than 10 years is that this little scratch here, this hole, it got put in my jacket when I was in high school. I was just helping move. I think it was like helping the catering company or one of the workers who helped load in the microwave meals to the school for lunch, and it got snagged on a door handle, or like the door. What do you call it? Where it's the thing in between the door that the knob is connected to.
The door twitchers.
That thing, yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
But it got caught in that, and it's ripped a hole in it, and it's just been staring at me at the face ever since. I was kind of anal about it when I first saw it. I'm like, oh, I gotta throw this out. But
You should do. You should get two little googly eyes and put on there.
I was thinking about just getting some duct tape and like taping like a nice little stripe or something there.
That'd
but
be nice. Actually.
yeah, but it'd probably be hard to get out and mess up the washing machine. I don't know. I never really bother with it, and it doesn't bother me anymore. So
It's. I don't want to say it fits the look, but like, yeah, you look like you would have a moderately successful punk rock band.
yeah.
It would be called like Flaming Crown or some shit, and like some guy in like Pittsburgh in 2030. Oh, I remember them. I was their show.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I fucking was their show.
Yeah, I fucked my sister there. Oh, wait, what? What? Nothing. Yeah, that's the reason I haven't thrown this out, is because I fucked my sister. I mean, joke's on you, I don't have a sister. But, like, I get compliments from everybody for wearing this. No matter where I go, it's like, whenever I even think about throwing it out, I'll see somebody and they're like, oh, you gotta give me your jacket. It's cool. And I'm like, oh, thanks.
If it fit me, I would steal your jacket.
Oh, yeah.
But unfortunately, I can only wear the finest of hides cut from the shepherd's plaid beast.
Mm-hmm. And this shirt, I can't even remember when I bought this. I think I got it as a birthday present from like my 16th birthday.
I can't wear shirts I bought 10 years ago. Do you know why?
Why?
10 years ago, I was fucking 11. I was this tall, not this tall. It's like, God, it's bizarre.
But speaking of big guys for you, there's a new meme out. I mean, it's probably not out anymore by the time this uploads, is a New Guy.
Yep, and and it's my favorite kind of meme.
Yeah, it's wholesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed. I mean, you probably know what it's about by the time you're watching this, but yeah, like some Tumblr person did a comic where she's trying to make herself look good and end up making her look horrible, and the straw man that she's posed next to ended up being more likable than her. That's the short end of it.
I liked it.
Yeah, everybody's done fan art of him, including me. I did a nice little tasteful illustration without your permission, featuring your likeness.
What? Wait. Okay. And that's exactly how that conversation went.
Yeah, I like how I showed you it without context first, because it was like based off of the Team Fortress 2 comic where Soldier starts dating Heavy's sister, and then like they get engaged immediately, and she's like, he's going to impregnate me, brother. Except you're in the role of Soldier, and because like I think people were saying New Guy looks like Heavy, so then my brain sort of went off on a tangent from there.
So I look like Soldier.
Yeah, or you look more like yourself. But
good.
I think that yeah, they're all based on, and like the girl in that is based off of a girl from like a different comic by the same author in the same series, I guess.
All right.
And yeah, so it's all part of my cinematic universe plan to get you laid.
All I'm picturing is just like some lady walking down the street, and there's this like, why is there a cardboard box fit? Ooh, what's this? Ooh, what's this? That is one of the few Family Guy. Actually, was that an old one?
That was season 4, the one with James Woods in it.
I like that
Ooh,
one.
a piece of candy. They're laying out Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, I like that gag.
Yeah. There are a couple of good early Family Guy. Even after their revival and like the first, I think, they got canceled after season 3, and that one episode was season 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So they still kind of hung in there for a little bit after that.
I like James Wood, I think, is the issue.
Yeah. Like, people seem to hate him for his like politics, but I like him.
Oh, I don't care about politics most of the time, unless you walk and like fucking kill everyone, destroy the planet, release the Megatron. Like, no, maybe not that guy. Don't elect that guy. However, if I somehow became president, my motto would be genetically engineer velociraptors and release them on our countries we're at war with.
Yeah, that's how World War III will be fought. That's like World War IV.
Yeah.
World War III is fought with nukes. The World War IV will be fought with sticks and dinosaurs. To paraphrase Einstein, that boy's name actually was Albert Einstein in this version of the story. You know that meme?
Yes, I do. I had to write that down because you inspired me.
Yeah. I feel like memes are kind of rotting my brain. That's probably why I haven't been able to do the comic as effectively as I have.
Memes.
I'm just going to throw them all memes under the bus along with Twitter.
You should become like a tech priest in Warhammer and go like, to know thy enemy is to know hate. And just like live in a fucking hermitude up in the hills drawing like comics. So that's what I assume the fucking half the writers for Marvel had to do to get through the 90s, is live up in a Scottish hermitage.
That reminds me, I was on the way over here, I was buying this car, and they had a bumper sticker said, love thy enemies. That means don't kill them. It had that sort of smugness about it. And I'm just thinking to myself, you don't really know that, do you? Like if you're a Catholic especially, and all life is suffering, then by alleviating your enemies of their suffering, doesn't that signify that you love them?
That's what I love about the Catholic religion. One of the tenements.
See, it's my turn to be a smug asshole now.
Yes, but I would have turned Catholics. Thou shalt not kill. Also Catholics. Y'all motherfuckers got a bigger sky daddy? Hand me my sword. Let's take Jerusalem.
Deus Vult.
I'm sorry. I like it. I don't. I'm not making fun of religion. I'm making fun of religion.
Yeah, it should all be fair game. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's fine.
I'm making fun of dead people. Unless fucking Cyrenicus will rise from his grave with his crusaders and come and whip my fat pasty ass.
Yeah, that's fine. Just leave it. So next up is I was thinking about this before I watched Zero Punctuation. You ever watch his videos?
No.
I think they're pretty good. Some people say they don't. He's run out of steam in the last 5 or so years, but I still think he's pretty cool. Yeah, it is weird to think like how long he's been on. You know how long he's been on. I first heard about him on an episode of X Play on G4.
The fuck?
Where they featured him. I think that it must have been like 2009, 2008, I think. Because it was his review of SimCity for the Wii. So yeah, that goes back a while.
Remember that scene in The Hobbit where we show the old dwarfs and that's what I'm thinking of right now. Like, I feel old. Like I feel old because I'm like, I remember those things. Mm-hmm. Where are they now?
Yeah. Yeah, I grew up with X-Play, G4.
Imagine if G4 was still around. Like, have you, like...
I mean, I'm surprised they don't have a YouTube channel.
Imagine a G4 review of, like... Have you heard of... fuck. I ruined the joke. G4 does,
I mean, you're doing a good impression of Adam Sessler right now.
For real?
I mean, on coke. He's just, like... losing all focus.
God.
All you gotta do is like keep licking your
What's
lips.
What's that game where you go back in time? The game that all the SJWs like.
Braid?
What?
Braid?
No. I forgot. It's the game. It's not Stranger Things. It's the episodic game.
Life is Strange.
Life is Strange on G4. Picture that. No, I want to see Spike TV review the game. Fuck, I want to see them review games like that.
Yeah, you saw that. I did mention to you that Rockhawk64 and Ding Dong on Twitch. They showed the Spike Game Awards from 2007.
Oh,
And like every award they handed out, they had like a model wearing body paint. So like they had the game title painted on their bodies.
imagine. I want them to do stuff like that, but if it's like a bad game, it has to be like one of the like fucking like Kardashians or some shit like that.
No, it would be this is going
Betty
back.
White.
I was gonna say Honey Boo Boo.
Oh fuck no! Is she still alive?
Well, I mean, I hope so. She's probably like a teenager now. So
God, I mean, I imagine
like
she
you
would've-
probably think of her mom.
Oh yeah, I thought her mom like overdosed on like meth or some shit like that.
I
would
I wasn't gonna say hopefully, by the way.
I would not hopefully, but like if there's not some meth or crack use in that family, just saying.
Have you ever noticed any like parallels between her family and yours?
Yes, like that's why I can't watch it. No. I'm worried. Like, do I have a cousin? Do I have a cousin? Do I have a cousin? Hey, do I have a cousin that's rich and loaded? That's willing to pay for something?
Mm-hmm.
I want 2007 Game Awards energy to power me. Just like that sort of energy.
Yeah. I know that what was interesting about like they had a segment on World War II shooters and how it's interesting how like oversaturated World War II shooters were at the time because this was before, or I think it was just when Modern Warfare was taking off and suddenly all first-person shooters became Modern Warfare games. But before that, it was all World War II, and they were like doing like the sort of pseudo documentary about the World War II games have been going on for so long. It's just shown like a war documentary, but they're interviewing like teenagers who play Xbox, like Poopy Penis 420XX, and like this one kid was like, man, like I'm getting sick of World War II games. I mean, it's World War II. It's kind of gay.
I have a true story about bad usernames. My stepbrother, one of his friends had a username Hitler von Juserbad.
Well, I mean, no, wait, never mind. I was going to say, like, at least he's saying Jews are... Oh, wait, no, the Jews are supposed to be the good, or whatever. I mean, never mind.
Yeah, it's like, what? No! I see what you're trying to do, like, no. Xbox asked him to change his name, I think, before they banned him.
Oh,
He's like,
it's weird, because they usually do that for you, right?
yeah, but they give you the option. He had it like Xbox launch. That was his starter name.
Oh,
He's like, hey, you want to see what's funny? Hey. I remember one of mine was like Son of Sparta. Because I was like Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
God, I was a fucking... If I wasn't a weeboo, I was a wereweeb. Where like every full moon I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking Vulcan from Metal Gear.
What would you say is your game of the decade?
Okay, oh my fucking god. So decade...
I probably should ask you this before we started.
Yep.
This is a tough question.
Probably, can I do a top three?
Yeah.
Going to my top three, one of them would have to be Persona 5. Yeah, Persona 5 got me that bait and switch. Another one, I'm counting the Mass Effect trilogy as one game. Because I'm cheating.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cheating here, but Mass Effect got to me emotionally. I bonded with all the characters. I remember the scene where Mordin Solus, the Solarian scientist, dies. And I remember it was the first time I cried in a video game. But if I really had to go, and if I had to pick, I'd probably go Persona 3 or 5, really. Persona 5, it takes you somewhere, gets that shit done. It's the game you can bring home to meet your mom, is how I describe it. It's class. It's a class act game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's my DLC coming out of a dick, but whatever. It's Sega.
Yeah. I would have to go with Nier Automata as
Nier's up there.
yeah. I wouldn't say it's my game of the decade. I mean, maybe. If we're doing like multiples, and that's probably in the top 3. I hesitate to say this, but GTA 5, as much shit as I give it, as much shit as I give Rockstar for all the online microtransactions and the sort of hollow overworld, I remember really enjoying the campaign when I first played it. I remember actually clapping at the end. That was probably the last game I ever.
Did you get the ending where Trevor lived?
Yeah, the Death Wish ending, which is I think the official ending. It may as well be. Because like that's pretty much the best possible outcome.
So can I tell you what I would also? So I only gave 2 for my answer, really.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's the third one who probably would beat out Persona 5. Fucking Red Dead Redemption 2. RDR2.
No, I will agree with that. Yeah.
Because I was trying to think of it. I remember crying in Persona 5 when Ryuji dies. I don't remember sitting in shock going, what the fuck? When Sean dies, it's like, what the fuck? And then, like, you go, like, when you finally get to the end of a game, in the final mission, Red Dead Redemption, it's like, it made me want to go out to my neighbors who got some horse and ride one of our horses around town. But I'm also afraid of horses. You know horses can tear out a man's throat with its teeth alone?
I mean, when's the last time that happened?
You mean horse bite out a guy's throat?
Yeah.
A person I worked with, Walmart, used to be a horse trainer. That's how someone I worked with died.
Okay. Because I'm just wondering what the odds are of that, actually.
It tends to have to be, it's a really aggressive horse.
Mm-hmm.
Their horse may have actually had mental issues. Horse, it was a pony, technically. Just tore out his throat. And they were, what the fuck? They had to put her down with a shotgun, but at the same time, that'd be fucking amazing in Red Dead 2 if you could get a flesh-eating horse, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. Breath of the Wild. I will say that's one of my games of the year.
God, we had so many good games at the end of this decade.
Yeah. It was very different from... Because I know that I'd seen a argument that the 360 and PS3 generation was probably one of the worst console generations.
PS2
and compared to PS4 and like what the generation that came after it. So we've had so many good games, and like you said, the last half of this last decade, and that's probably because we took the jump from the previous one.
You know what also is probably on there? I would give at least the first half of Metal Gear 5 some credit, some kudos.
Mm-hmm. Like, it is fun. I know that people have argued that the story is terrible, and there's a lot of stuff that feels hollow. But I think that the gameplay makes up for at least a bit of it. Same could be said for Final Fantasy 15. I know that people hate that game, but I personally like it. It's not one of my favorite Final Fantasy games.
It's the only one I've ever played. I also like it. But my friend says, you look, and here's my issue, you look like fucking cosplayers is my gripe with the game.
That's an interesting point.
Because it's weird, I don't like the hyper-realistic anime.
Yeah, I mean, it did sort of become a selling point for games this generation from Japanese developers, because I know that they did that with the RE2 remake and Devil May Cry 5, where they made the characters look more realistic, like Western games.
But they don't have it look like they should be swiping their fucking hair.
Mm-hmm.
Can I give what my my indie game of the year is?
Sure.
My indie game of the year is Warhammer Mechanicus.
Mm-hmm.
The whole plot of the
Does that really count as indie if it's Warhammer?
Actually, yes. It's Focus Interactive. They call them double A's, not triple A.
Okay. You heard about Xbox launching their first quadruple A studio?
Oh my fucking god, no!
And then
is it gonna be so high budget like Master Chief will take off his helmet and look at you?
I mean, I hope that doesn't happen. That would ruin the point of the character.
But
I mean, I'm sorry. Finish your thought.
But yeah, why I love the game so much is It is the only game where I can say the following quote: "The boss should be hearing boss music from me." Because because the whole plot of Mechanicus can like tear themselves apart and rebuild. Warhammer I count as kind of indie because it's an IP that's famous, but they don't use big studios because they're like, my shekels, my money, give me my money. They've ironically they've turned the Orc Greedy Tribe, the Bad Moons, into their fucking logo.
Kind of makes me think of Oddworld.
Yeah.
That's always been kind of an indie series, and even though it's a recognizable IP, I mean, I guess you could call it. I mean, yeah, it is recognizable, but they always come out with that's owned by the creator, right?
What?
The Oddworld series.
I believe
that's
so.
One owner, so I think that you could say that that's a, and I think that he is still working on Soulstorm. Was it? He's been working on that for like 5 years.
Hey, what's your favorite Oddworld?
I haven't played any of them yet. I think that Stranger's Wrath might end up being my favorite.
Same. I haven't played any either, but
yeah, it's always kind of like the concept and the art style has always really interested me.
And do you know what the twist of your character is? You're a fucking centaur who got his hind legs cut off. That's kind of fucking brutal.
On the Warhammer one?
No, it's the Stranger's Wrath.
Oh, okay.
He's a centaur.
Oh.
He got his hind legs cut off so
Okay.
that he can fucking track people down.
Yeah, what I was going to say about Master Chief or Halo is that I noticed that, I think it was Krobcat's video on the decline of the Halo series after 343 took over from Bungie. Was one of the clips they showed is that the people behind in the 343 they don't really get Master Chief as a character, and that Master Chief isn't really supposed to be a fleshed out character or a character that's meant to be fleshed out. He's meant to be a suit of armor that the player puts on, and I think that's, I mean, for me, my interpretation is that you're not playing as a character; you're playing more as a legend, like you're playing like King Arthur. Is that it's not someone who's meant to be, figured out or analyzed. I mean, you could analyze King Arthur or any or Paul Bunyan for that matter. I guess if we're just coming up with legendary figures, but for me, I think that Master Chief works best when he's just a suit of armor.
Do you know what I want for if Warhammer had a AAA game? They have not made many games where you play as a Space Marine and you feel like a Space Marine.
You're talking about Space Marine?
Well, yeah, but Space Marine, it's like you feel like a guy. You feel like an action hero. Do you know how a Space Marine should feel? When he grabs your head doesn't twist. He shatters your skull. They shoot rocket-propelled ammunition. Space Marines are they're basic guys are Hulkbuster strength.
Isn't Space Hulk in the Warhammer universe?
Yeah, and those are they call them Terminators. Okay. That's their Terminator suits.
Right.
What I would like to see in a Warhammer game is you get to make your own Space Marine chapter, and you have to fucking go through the channels of history and whip Chaos's ass. Warhammer could lead to some of the best games ever. Yeah. I think it has a couple times with Total War, Warhammer 2.
Speaking of games, I wrote down this because I actually just got it off on the Switch, Cave Story.
How is it?
It's good. It plays really well on the Switch. I mean, especially indie games do. But I wanted to get Cave Story just because it seems like a really good mobile game, something you can take out and play on the go. I know that people say you should boycott because I think that Nicalis, Nicalis, they bought or they pretty much stole the rights from Pixel, the original developer of Cave Story. And they haven't been giving him his proper share from all the revenue that they've gotten. But they're saying don't give these people any money. I mean for me it's for this, if it was for PC, I would be willing to pirates, but Switch, it's different. So
yeah,
I don't know. I hate to throw moral politics into I just want to play a good game on the go, and I don't know.
I did the same thing. I got Diablo 3 on the Switch for when I'm in waiting rooms. Diablo 3 is pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
It's my first Diablo since Diablo 2, and well, obviously it should be, unless like I did some fucking time travel, and yeah, it's cool. I like playing barbarian. I like being able to walk up and smack a monster's bitch.
Oh, I have been getting back to the Outer Worlds.
How are you liking it?
It's good. I'm getting into it more than I did. I think that I fixed some of the performance issues I had. I think the reason was that I didn't set the frame rate limit to like 60, because I think that if you set it to unlimited, then the game like keeps like lagging or whatever, trying to decide what frame rate to use. And I think that's, after I set it to 60, it runs smooth as butter. So I really like it.
So, I like Outer Worlds. I really liked the ending I got. Can I tell you what my ending was without major spoilers?
Sure.
Not like ending, but like how I got there. I fucking betrayed every character I met in the game to the point that my party may have been like, what the fuck? Like, my ending... But here's the thing. You can still be an asshole, but have a good ending for people. And I like that. Because there are assholes who've led to good stuff, you know? Like, I bet the inventor of, shotguns was an asshole. If you look at him. Probably, he probably beat his kids. But think of how much we use shotguns.
Reminds me of the movie Yesterday.
Yeah.
Like talking about beating your wife, John Lennon. They got an actor to play old man John Lennon in the movie. And I was watching the commentary with the Needle Drop, Anthony Fantano, and some other guy, and they were mentioning that because that's really the question is, did he if he didn't get is that what the movie's suggesting, is that if he didn't get famous, does that mean that he didn't beat his wife? I imagine that in the whole movie they try to avoid that, but they're saying, hey, they probably didn't even ask Paul he's still alive. Why didn't they get him in there? And I'm thinking to myself, it's because John is the more profound Beatle who was martyred and blah blah blah, and blah blah blah. Imagine.
Can I tell you what my immortal sin is? I'm not the biggest Beatles fan in the world.
How dare you?
I know. I like some of her songs. Like I like Lonely Hearts.
Yeah.
I like some of her stuff, but it's like if I have a choice, I'd rather listen to Rob Zombie because I'm trash. I'm the trash man. Yeah. I've bonded with that one scene so much because I was literally the trash man at McDonald's. Like they used to call me the trash man, and I used to I'm the trash man, and the worst Danny DeVito impression ever.
That's another series I need to get back to watching. It's Always Sunny.
I like that. My mom gets bonus points for watching it because she had to live in Philly when she went there as an assignment nurse. She used to work in a spot they used to call the Gun and Knife Club. Do you know why?
Why?
Work there, you need a gun or a knife because they'll be trying to kill you with both.
Also reminds me of, you ever watched The Whitest Kids You Know?
No, what's that?
There's like a sketch comedy group. It's just a bunch of like asshole teenagers who do these like these really offensive sketches. One of them was I don't know if I can list one off the top of my head, but I know that's one that Reaction FLV was posting. They were posting clips of the Abraham Lincoln one, where it's just like Abraham Lincoln's in the theater, he's yelling and he's acting like an asshole, and John Wilkes Booth is there with his wife. He's just getting more and more angry, while Abraham Lincoln is like, "Hey, fuck you, man! What? He's like, John, just let it go." No.
Family Guy did that?
I don't know.
I wonder if Family Guy ripped that off.
They might have.
Would that surprise if Family Guy has plagiarized?
No, they've plagiarized before. I remember there was a joke about Jesus that they plagiarized from a stand-up comedian. It was one where I think it was the one where Stewie goes to the future and meets his future self, and like Jesus is doing like magic tricks, and he's just like has like his fingers linked together, puts them behind his head, and it's like that, and it's like. Yeah, so like a stand-up comedian did that first, or like a few years before Family Guy did that, and yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me if Family Guy plagiarized.
God, Seth, Seth is fucking talented as the ace of spades, but he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he's really a showrunner of Family Guy anymore.
Well, I mean, he can't. Okay, his show has become an asshole. The show that used to be his.
I know that speaking of shows that have become assholes, I was giving another shot to two different cartoons. One was SpongeBob, because I know that John Rosansky, aka Mr. Enter. I call him John Rosansky because I gotta treat him like a professional because he wants to be treated like a professional. And I make it sound like I have a personal grudge against him. I don't, but yeah, he's sort of a defender of some of the more recent seasons of SpongeBob. Mm-hmm. So I gave a shot to one called Mimic Madness, which he says was one of his favorites of all time, even more than like the classic seasons. And I watched it, I'm like, it's okay.
What's it about?
It's SpongeBob starts like imitating like his friends Patrick and Squidward, and it really does show, or like he starts morphing into them, and it really does show Tom Kenny's like range as a voice actor, because there are some characters that he really hits the nail on the head with. But yeah, it's an okay. It doesn't really have the pacing that the classic episodes had, because when I actually revisited some of the episodes from seasons 2 and 3, and the pacing it reminds me of actually episodes of The Simpsons. It's that good, which is the other cartoon that I wanted to talk about. But SpongeBob, it had like the writing that really backed it up, where it's like there's one in particular from probably one of the most critically acclaimed episodes. It was Chocolate with Nuts, where they're trying to sell chocolate bars. And there's a part where they're in the diner, and SpongeBob's like, well, we need a new sales tactic. And Patrick's like, oh, I know, let's get naked. SpongeBob's like, no, let's say that from when we're selling real estate. And that sounds like it does sound like a Simpsons joke.
It does.
So like there were some like sprinkles of kind of adult comedy in there that really still hold up after all this time. And I think that's that Mimic Madness. It feels a little like way too fast paced, where the jokes just don't have time to breathe. And so yeah, it just doesn't really gel with me. And then I watched. I gave the latest season of The Simpsons a shot, season 31, just because my uncle is actually kind of a defender of modern episodes of The Simpsons. Baffles me why. It's
what say you in defense of The Simpsons?
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, my uncle, he still defends the fact that what he believes that The Simpsons is still good. And I told him, I watched like the first 2 episodes of season 31, and they're just terrible. It's like the first season, like the first episode of season 31 is Homer and Bart make a viral video.
Oh, fuck me.
Like they try to make money off of YouTube. There's this one joke that's kind of made me smile a little bit, but for probably the wrong reasons, where they're saying they're teaming up with this like blatant hipster caricature. The guy's like, we gotta monetize, and Homer's like, yes, monetize, monorail, and which is a reference to the Marge versus the Monorail from I think season 5. So it's like they're trying to really reach for the people who want the classic episodes to come back. Yeah. And it just reeks of desperation. Like, I mean, I just feel sad whenever I think of
it's like
modern
seeing
Simpsons.
A friend of yours, but he got hurt in a traumatic brain injury, and he comes back like, "Hey, friend," and you're like, "Hey, do we know you?" And you have to convince him that you do know him, and you gently lead him into the room.
Or it's like an elderly relative who's on life support and nobody wants to unplug him, even though I've heard all the metaphors.
And then you push him out the window.
I mean, I think that the only thing that'll like end The Simpsons at this point is if one of the main cast dies, like Danny Castellaneta. Or I mean, I don't want to go into that because I hope that they all
don't jinx it. Don't.
We have noticed that Marcia Wallace, the woman who voices Marge, she really can't do the voice anymore. It's like her voice just is like cracking like constantly when she's doing the voice. It's like really noticeable. And so I don't know like how long they're going to have. I mean, maybe technology will have advanced to where they can use AI to fill in the cracks in her voice or whatever to make it sound like she's as good as new.
Can you imagine a day where we have an AI cast doing shows?
That would actually be kind of interesting. I mean, from an independent creator standpoint, because if you're like, it makes me think about doing independent films, doing independent animation. If you're just one guy trying to make a movie on your own, I sort of yearn for the day where creating an animated movie by yourself is as easy as creating a comic by yourself, which is to say, possible. And it would be interesting to see, like, having all these like voice softwares, Vocaloids, whatever, and being able to configure that and configure, AI, what do they call it? I think that
Fake?
I mean, deepfake that's one way to use it, and I think you'd probably incorporate that into animation. But I think about procedural animation is what I'm thinking, or maybe I'm trying to remember, like, because they use that same technology for animating Thanos.
Oh, I know you're talking mocap, motion capture.
Yeah, but it was like an AI that was sort of correcting stuff to like animate it automatically with a computer.
God.
And to like saved a lot of man hours from how I understand it. So it'd be neat to see that done to sort of help like an independent animator like do a complete animated film with the amount of effort needed to make a comic today, I guess.
Man, you have to admit, that computer knew what it was fucking doing with Thanos.
Well, I think about the part where Thor stabs him in the chest and just goes like, ah. Is that one of all the memes?
Oh.
Where it looks like really weird, where his like
Yeah.
mouth is all stretched. So like, I think that's one of the. I think that's probably a good example of like the. I'm gonna call it procedural animation because I don't know what else it's called off the top of my head. But speaking of movies, I saw a few over the holiday break. One was Rumble in the Bronx with Jackie Chan.
How was it?
It was okay. I mean, it's really, really cheesy, and the story is kind of terrible. But I really like the stunt work. I mean, Jackie Chan has great stunt work in all of his movies, so you gotta give it to that. You gotta give that to him. There's the end chase scene has like a hovercraft like flying through the city streets, and it reminds me of actually something on a Sonic Adventure. So I mean, retrospectively, at the time I just thought, this movie is a real piece of shit. It's all this chaos and stuff happening, and I just feel nothing. But at the same time, it's good stunt work. I like even if it is cartoony at times, it's fun. I mean, as long as you turn your brain off, it's fun.
Y'all need to watch motherfucking Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. I know what I'm doing. You're gonna do a review of Godzilla against Mechagodzilla.
Oh yeah, sure.
I have a copy of it on DVD.
Okay.
That's bootleg.
All right, cool. Another movie I saw was Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee.
How do you like that?
That's good. It's definitely more of a film than Rumble in the Bronx. Even if it is a bit slow, it's really cool to see like actual martial arts on film and seeing all the stuff that Quentin Tarantino ripped off completely for Kill Bill. I mean, he wasn't wearing the yellow costume like in Kill Bill, the one that the bride wears, because that actually is what Bruce Lee wore in one of the other films, the exact costume. But yeah, it's a really neat film, and I watched them back to back just to get references for my comic, and because there is going to be martial arts stuff in that.
One thing that always bugs me on martial arts is, is no one fucking uses guns.
I mean, they actually explain that in Enter the Dragon, and that it takes place on the main bad guy. He owns a private island, and he doesn't allow guns to be brought onto his island because, assassins.
Oh, good. Actually, okay.
So they actually do take. It was neat to see them actually take a cue to actually explain that in the movie, in the script.
I like that.
Yeah.
Enter the Dragon, you get 10 points.
Yeah. Out of 100 or what?
The points mean nothing and we don't matter because it's like...
Just like my favorite anime, Harry Potter.
Oh.
Now, I still haven't watched the last two movies. the Deathly Hallows.
I watch Harry Potter, all the films, every Christmas because they're always on TV. That's one of my family traditions. My mom's a huge Harry Potter fan. They hold up, kind of.
Yeah, a lot of women like Harry Potter. No, it's actually
my mom got pregnant around the time, so she read the books while she's, and can't do much.
reading it before bed. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. Yeah, putting that image in your brain. How do you like it?
I got fucking conceived of Voldemort.
That was their safe word.
My dad's read it and said, Voldemort, Voldemort.
But anyway,
I'm sorry.
let's see. I lost my train of thought completely. It was on. It was like they showed I saw a list comparing men's top 100 films to women's top 100 films, and there were like 3 Harry Potter movies in the top 10 with them. I think the top one was Pride and Prejudice, or maybe it was The Notebook. It was like one of those sappy romance movies, but right in the top 10, I think it was like Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, and some other ones.
Chamber of Secrets?
Probably. But yeah, with men, it was like all spaghetti westerns, The Godfather, Goodfellas, all the Martin Scorsese films.
I haven't seen because I'm trash.
Yeah, it's like
I do want to see them. I'm going to watch them.
watch them on Netflix. Yeah, they're great. Go. But yeah, I think that's all the movies I watched over the week over the holiday break.
I watched Rise of Skywalker.
I mean, I didn't, so I don't think we can have an in-depth discussion of it. I know like the I had it spoiled for me most of it. But,
Can I just give you a quick description of how to describe it?
Sure.
Imagine if your 4-year-old took a hit of cocaine, and while you're relapsing into a psychotic episode, we want to tell you their idea for a Skywalker movie, and that's the plot of the movie. Fucking bonkers.
Yeah. That's basically what I've heard.
Second worst movie I saw is the Star Wars name.
What was the first?
I still think The Last Jedi is marginally worse. I got less enjoyment out of Last Jedi.
Yeah, I think that's the general audience consensus. I've seen some critics argue that Last Jedi had a more cohesive story.
That's why it's worse. There's no bring me the girl.
Yeah, I guess an argument that they also had was that you could argue that it was someone's vision, like a singular vision. You could also argue that for the prequels, though. So I don't know how much weight that argument holds.
I just love seeing Palpatine again.
Oh yeah, from what I've heard, he's less hammy than he is in the prequels or in Episode 3.
Damn close though. Damn close.
So yeah, like I'll probably check it out when it's on video.
And then I'm gonna rewatch it. That is a movie to get drunk to. I'm just gonna say that.
I mean, technically it is already on video, just not legally. But yeah, it's something I'll probably check out sometime in the future, maybe. Joker is best of 2019 for me.
Ooh, that's a good answer.
Yeah, I mean it's like the best one I've saw in theaters, at least, bar none.
So you want to hear what my answer is?
Yeah.
You know the answer already. Godzilla.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There is no time because Joker is an artistic masterpiece. I will not. It is number 2. In any other world, it would be number 1. There has never been a movie. When I watched Godzilla, I became a 5-year-old and going, Godzilla! When you see the big guy with the fucking Navy roll in. Oh.
Like, I imagine if there was a Power Rangers movie that hit all the marks like Godzilla did for Godzilla, then I would probably be in the same boat as you. But, yeah, I didn't grow up with Godzilla. I think I watched maybe 2 movies when I was growing up, but they didn't really keep my attention. I don't know.
The older ones are more like, they're more horror with a giant dinosaur. The later ones are like, go, dinosaur breath. There's one of them that is basically domestic violence between a dinosaur and his cyborg dinosaur dad. Ghost. It's weird. That's the one I want you to watch.
Okay. Which is
Godzilla against Mechagodzilla.
okay. But yeah, I got. I can show you this. I got in the mail because I actually needed to order a new cord for my drawing tablet, which is a HDMI to DisplayPort. Because for the longest time, I was using a VGA cable for the drawing tablet, and it looks like shit. And not only that, but I didn't notice that it was what was causing the misalignment of my cursor to my tablet.
Oh.
So not only was it making it look worse, it was affecting the performance. So, but it works a lot better now. But I also got Creature Tech. It's the color version of Creature Tech. So it actually looks a lot. It's a Doug Naples comic, and it looks a lot different for the most part than the black and white version, which I also have. One thing in particular is that he actually rewrote some of the dialogue for the color version, which I'm kind of on the fence about because he doesn't rewrite much, just he writes out some of the swear words. Because there's one panel, I think it's that one in particular. No, it's I think it's the one before that, where one of the workers hits the other guy in the face accidentally with a wrench. In the color version, he says, "Ow, you stupid moron." In the black and white version, he says, "Ow, you stupid son of a bitch." So it's stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, it's Doug's comic. He can do whatever he wants with it, and it's not that big of a deal. But I do think it's kind of
It takes away from
it takes away the punch, I guess, is what I would say. I mean, this is coming from a guy whose comic he's working. I mean, I'm working on a comic. You know, let me try saying that again. I'm kind of running on weird.
And that's
this is coming from a person who I'm writing a comic where 13-year-olds say fucking shit and piss. Like not all the time, but they say the big three from time to time. So I don't know. I guess I'm okay with Doug sort of censoring himself for the sake of appealing to all ages.
Yeah. I do like the designs of it.
Yeah. It's I mentioned before that's the first comic that he did where he started making comics seriously. And it opens up with a new foreword with him talking about his experience working in comics or working technically apparently it was after he was sort of retired from with his royalties from Earthworm Jim and the video games he worked on, and he decided to just sit on his savings and work on comics from then on. And then, like how he describes himself in the. Let me see this for a minute. He describes him. I like this quote where he says, "A time when I was." There was a time when I was known primarily for being a gamer, a man who both made and played whimsical video games. But I knew it was a secondary title at best, for I was actually a comicer. So,
I like that.
yeah, he is a very eccentric individual. I like him a lot. He has I still watch his YouTube channel. Right now he's still inking Bigfoot Bill, which he should. I think he said that it'll be out. The next campaign he's doing is either for that or for the next volume of Earthworm Jim. I think it is for Bigfoot Bill because I know he said he wants to have like 60% or maybe all of it done before he does the campaign on Kickstarter.
I see.
So, but yeah, I'm definitely donating to that because he like the last the box set he did for Earthworm Jim looks phenomenal. Everybody's been raving about it, and apparently the one of the tiers for the Bigfoot Bill comic is going to have the first volume collected in with the box.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
I like Naple. I like his creature designs a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I like his character Psychro from Earthworm Jim a lot.
Oh yeah.
The bird dude,
Mm-hmm.
as you can probably guess by Psychro.
Yeah. Yeah, he's had years of experience with that, and yeah, he's like, because from what I've seen in Bigfoot Bill, it looks like really visually appealing. There's always like some little nuggets of wisdom he drops here and there. Him and whatever guests he brings on who also tend to work on comics. One thing in particular was one of his guests was drawing a scientist character with a big mustache, and Doug was commenting on how. And I was meaning to look this up. Was in Iron West, there's a character with a big mustache, and he says it's really, really hard when you're working in ink to make a mustache not look like a mouth, especially if it's in black ink, because it always looks like open mouth or like getting the expression right.
I learned that trying to do mustaches.
Mm-hmm.
I sketch in black ink a lot, as you can tell.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's
fine. Reminds me, another comic that I was meaning to revisit from a different artist was Craig Thompson's Blankets, which they have the library. And it's a comic that I sort of ended up having conflicting feelings about it over time. Because it did sort of introduce me to those sort of mopey hipster comics about reality. And I mean, it is beautifully illustrated, but it sort of like ended up over time souring my opinions over like autobiographies, especially comic autobiographies, where it's like, it's very, I don't know, self-pitying and from what I remember.
Me tragedy is
yeah, it's where like, this is my life and this is you experience, like this is an experience, and it's like I mean, I want to like revisit it and get a clearer perspective, because it's been a while since I've looked into it. It makes me think about, and going back into video games, because I was thinking about this with how I can't remember. I think it was there was a quote by Bro Team Pill about like games just being toys, and I think that is like it's a sobering perspective. I mean, I'm gonna use some fartsy wording here as well, but that's the first word that comes to my mind is sobering, and that's there's a lot of games are sort of approaching this. They've been in this period where they want to be taken seriously, much like graphic novels, where it's like it's not just a comic, it's a graphic novel. This isn't a movie, it's a film. This isn't a video game, this is an immersive interactive experience. So we're starting to we have seen this pop up with video games.
What I think you get me thinking here, the all-time best commercial I ever saw for a console was, it shows the guy and he's paratrooping down into the woods and he walks into the bar.
Mm-hmm.
All the PlayStation icons are there. Kratos, and they're like, this dude saved me in World War II. And the guy says, yeah, they helped me. It's the guy from Infamous, learned me my power. And they look up and it's all the players there. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're in the era of, they want,
Now we're in the era of that one commercial where the guy is crying over Death Stranding and it floods the whole city.
Fuck.
Yeah, goes right back into what I was saying about it's not just a video game. It's
when
art.
I watch the game. That was at the Game Awards, right?
Mm-hmm.
I watch it with my grandmother. When I saw his Death Stranding, I had to physically get up and go, oh my fucking god. My grandmother was like, what are you watching? I said, oh, look here, this ought to be good. And she came in during that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be something like, like a Waterworld video game.
Or like a BioShock sequel.
Oh, don't you tease me like that, man.
BioShock 3. I mean, after BioShock Infinite, I really don't want to see anything more from BioShock.
Make a game.
I mean, there is a System Shock 3 that they announced a while back. I think that's still in development, but I haven't heard anything since.
Make a game where you play as Andrew Ryan, and you have to take over Rapture. You also can optionally play as his Big Daddy assistant.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe it's like, you could set it like after BioShock, where it's like his brain was rebuilt, and he's basically a hollowed out like husk that's being programmed to like fight or whatever.
Also, there needs to be
and then that's the big reveal at the end. Because every BioShock game has to have the big reveal. But it's like you look in the mirror and it's Andrew Ryan.
Yeah. By the way, the fucking BioShock 2 is my favorite BioShock game.
Yeah, I actually got that on a Steam sale, and I've been meaning to boot it up.
Do you know why? When you fucking drop, you make the same noise the Big Daddies
Oh, yeah.
do. Because when you play Bioshock 1, you're afraid of the Big Daddy, you
Yeah.
know? I hate saying that because it sounds like Big Daddy gonna hurt you when he come home. But like Big Daddies are, they're the fucking, they come home and they beat you. Now it's your turn to deliver an ass whooping.
So it makes me think of the Goofy Time meme.
But
Remember that? Where it's
No.
like the guy like breaks into the room and he's wearing the Goofy mask and he's like, "It's Goofy time." No, Dad, no.
yes, pretty much.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, vaguely.
That's like, I was gonna say that was like a meme from the 2010s, but I think that was actually earlier than that, like 2008 maybe.
My beard goes gray.
Yeah. What would you say is best meme of the decade?
Oh. I'm kidding. Best meme, the meme I got is the Heptafusion ones where you take the characters, how they look fused independently and how they all look fused together. Because you get some cool shit out of that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, this is probably my argument for most influential meme of the decade. Mine would be press F to pay respects.
Oh, I was talking about good memes, the
Oh.
most influential. Fuck.
Yeah. I mean, I hesitate to designate any meme as good, to be honest. It's all just kind of cultural flotsam, I guess. This is me being a boomer again. But yeah, I don't know if I can, with good conscience, label any meme as good or bad. But except for Millhouse, which is not a meme. That's going back a long time. So that's me being even more of a boomer. That was a meme on 4chan.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Are you just gonna age me till I'm as old as you are?
Oh,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to tease you like that.
that's
Man.
fine. I deserve it. But yeah, press F is like, it's one that sort of penetrated culture so deeply that you still see it like spammed constantly on especially Twitch chat. And it's really, I don't know if any other games have made fun of it.
Yes, I believe the Deadpool game has a press F joke.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
With
you're
Wolverine.
Right. Yeah.
And then at the end, and I just got 5 more minutes of game time, motherfucker.
If I was gonna do YouTube poop, it would be of the Logan movie, but where X-23, instead of turning the cross into an X, she turns it into an F.
My God.
And then the Trollolo theme plays for 10 hours.
That's troll. I'm sorry about that fucking Pacific Rim. You know about troll.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I was actually going back through our old episodes and just seeing how far we've come. I think now that we say like about 200 times per episode, as opposed to our first episode, which I think I used the word like about 60 times in 10 minutes. I can't remember what number I did before I gave up, because I had that counter up there. So
I remember.
Yeah. And yeah, we've come a long way. I've stopped animating our episodes for the sake of my own sanity and for the sake of productivity and other more important areas. I think we've been going really well, and this is actually going to be our 65th episode, if you can believe that. And come April, it'll be our second anniversary. And that's pretty neat, if I do say so myself.
I thought we would have crashed and burned, to be honest.
No, it's relatively easy, I think, to come in here and just bring my own equipment, set everything up. Especially now that, I always gush about how great it is that we have our own microphones now connected to the same device instead of using 2 different recorders that desync every 10 minutes, and I have to resync them up in the editor and mute whenever one of us is talking to improve the audio quality or whatever. And man, it's I haven't thought about that in a while, but every time I think about it, it's just like, it's great.
You get ass blasted as a thoughts. Ass blaster is the name of a fully grown tremor worm. They call them ass blasters when they're fully grown because they can shoot fire out of their ass to fly.
From Is that in real life? Or?
Yeah, in Tremors. No, not
Oh,
Tremors.
okay.
No, the Tremors movies. The graboids turn into quadrupeds who then can develop the ability to shoot fire out of their ass. They're called ass blasters.
I thought you said Trevor's, and you were like, I thought you were making a GTA reference.
No, I want to see. By the way, Trevor's amazing. He is a saint.
Yeah, I would love to see a GTA game. Like if I was going to pitch a GTA 6, I would actually make it so it's more like Breath of the Wild, where you can just do whatever you want.
Will there be weird physics engines in it?
Oh yeah, and make it mod friendly, because that's one thing that I hated about GTA 5 was how Rockstar was trying to suppress modding, and I think that they issued a DMCA on the native trainer, which was supposed to be like the thing in game where you can turn off and on mods on the fly.
Oh.
So it was really shitty of them to do that, and I would love to see them like go back and say, look, we'll just make this for the gamers and let them do whatever. I know that I always like to go back to that Nakey Jakey video where he's talking about if Breath of the Wild and GTA had sex and made a game, and, like Games That Should Bang was a series, which he brought up in his critique of Red Dead Redemption 2. But I always thought it was a really neat pitch to have it where you could, there's a mission where, a guy is on top of a building. You need to go kill that guy. You can go at it in a number of ways. You can either drive to the skyscraper, break down the front door, shoot a bunch of guys, go up the elevator, kill the guy, parachute off. Or you can, go to an airport, a military base, steal an attack helicopter, fly up there, douse the top of the building with rockets, and then pass the mission.
Eat peyote, turn into a bird, and attack him and drive him off.
Yeah.
There should be a GTA game that has a hidden monster in it that you can turn into. Picture GTA if you could turn into a werewolf or something like that.
Well, they did that in GTA 5, where there's peyote in there.
I know, that's what
but
got
that's
the idea from.
yeah, it's kind of. That's just sort of a diversion and not really a plot point or anything.
By the way, Trevor is the best character of the three.
Yeah, I think that there are.
I think they should have made a game give Trevor a daughter who I've made myself a better person. Honey, I'm home, and he walks in there, shoots her husband, and make the plot about two psychopaths reconnecting.
Yeah, that'd be neat. I was going to say there are some inconsistencies with this character. I remember there's this one side mission. It was the one with the immigrant detainers guys.
Yeah.
There's the final mission where you kill them and you get confronted by the old man who's just shitting on you. Yeah. And the one thing I did after that cutscene ended, I'd shoot the guy, and then the game's no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. And it's well, why not? Trevor would probably do that. And it's no, you can't do that. We decide.
No, what Trevor would do is Trevor would put him into a bathtub full of lye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's no, you can't have fun. You got to play the game the way we want you to.
Red Dead.
And it'd be neat to see Rockstar just throw that out and say, look, we're done making these cinematic things. We'll just let you do whatever. Let you do whatever to get the shit done. And we don't want to make movies anymore. We just want to make games. And it sounded like that's the direction that the Everywhere game was going to go with. Leslie Benzies, the guy who worked on the original Grand Theft Auto games.
Where'd that go?
I think it's still in development, but I think from what I can gather, based on what little information I know about the game, is that you can play as anyone. You play as any NPC, and it's the ultimate free roaming game. The way they picture it.
I have a question for you. Would you play a game that is that? By the way, Dwarf Fortress is a game. If Dwarf Fortress had the control of the Grand Theft Auto, it would be your game, basically, except fantasy is.
I think so.
Because it's the only game where you can play as a Spider-Man who has 4 arms, hold 3 shields with 3 of the arms and a spear in one, and fucking make your own shield wall.
Yeah. I think that one of the barriers for me in those games is that with all that freedom comes a cost of the controls being kind of limited, very limited, in fact.
Yeah.
Because I know that Kenshi also has a lot of freedom in the gameplay and role-playing elements, but at the same time, it's kind of a really boring game. There's all this stuff that you need to keep track of, and you're dying constantly. And I don't know. For me, I would love there to be like this happy medium between those two things.
Dwarf Fortress, by the way, I just want to share my little Dwarf Fortress update for this episode. I discovered they had a new thing is bandits can randomly attack towns you spawn in. So I spawn and it says, you're under attack by bandits, as I say as my non-combat character spawns. And my little fly man, who is 2.5 feet tall, turns around. Is a fucking goblin with a whip, beats him to death in the streets. He punctured a lung and suffocated.
Ah.
That's sorry.
Sorry. I think that we can wrap it up now.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's great to be back, and we'll see you next week. I have been Tony,
I've been Zach.
and this has been the Monkey Bar.
There can only